Imagine someone is a person working in few different organizations. So I register with organization ID 12 with form filler, and then I want to join another organization. So in this lesson, we will build a database structure to support multiple organizations per user. Then that user will be able to choose the organization and save that into session, and then we will change our current organization ID to that many-to-many relationships. Let's go. First, database structure. Instead of that user organization ID, we need to have a many-to-many structure, a pivot table of user belonging to another user. So we do artisan make migration, create organization user table. And it will be a pivot table. Technically it is user to user, but to make it clearer, I will rename the first part to organization. And instead of those default fields, it will be organization ID and user ID, and both foreign keys. Okay, we have that pivot table. Let's migrate it to make sure it works. Migration succeeds. Now in user table, we need to make a relationship in user model. So user can belong to multiple organizations, right? Organizations, and it will be return this belongs to many relationship to the same user class, but with a different table name. Table name will be organization user, foreign key will be user ID, and related pivot key will be organization ID. I hope I didn't mix them up. We will test it. And now to join another organization, we will just attach that relationship to user model. And let's build that menu item. So in invite blade page, we will suggest another link. So one link for new users to register, and then there will be a join create route. So let's build it in web. We will have two new routes, route get for join create. Join, for example, we will create a join controller with create method, name join create. And that will be posting to the same controller, just another method. So post join store to join store. And let's create that controller. Join controller. It's empty for now. Join controller. Public function create will be just an invitation page, so return view join with organization, and that organization will come from user find or fail by request organization ID, and that will be passed to our view compact organization. Okay, delete that one. And view join will be the same as invite blade, so let's just save it, join blade, with a different title, join the organization. And this will be a form. So form, action will be route join store, method post, then CSRF token for protection, and then hidden field for organization ID, hidden, name organization ID, and value will be our organization ID. The text will be, do you want to join organization? Let's make it a bold name. Organization name. And just a button, submit button. So input type submit, value yes join, class button primary. And let's test it. Let's join another organization like organization ID 1. That is a weird error. Why PHP Storm didn't autocomplete that one? Anyway, Okay, now do you want to join organization name? Great, and after clicking yes join, we will have to create a store method here. So public function store, request as a parameter, request, and what we need to do is auth user organizations. So we're using the same relationship we have just created, attach request input organization ID. By the way, these two things are really similar, almost identical, so choose yourself whether you use request as a helper or request as a parameter. So we attach and we do redirect back or redirect to home, to route home, and let's test it out. So we click yes join, we are redirected to home, and let's see what's in the database. We should have a new database table, organization user, and we have a new entry, user ID 20 belongs to organization ID 1. This is exactly what we wanted to do. We also need to change the registration organization. So whenever someone registers as a new user with a particular organization, we need to change the register controller. So register controller, instead of assigning organization ID here, it should be also attaching organization to the user. So we change that code to user, then we return that user at the end, and then instead of doing organization ID, we copy paste the same code. So if we have organization ID, then we attach that to user. So user, organizations, attach, and we don't need that parameter here. So let's test it out. We fill in the form, we register, we are in, and let's see the database, refresh. Yep, that user is attached successfully. And also let's test the registration without the user, without the organization. So we didn't break anything. Form filler, register, it still works, and no new record in this table. Great. Now let's work on actually choosing the organization if you have multiple organizations. So I am a new user, and let's join a few organizations. So join organization ID 1, okay, join, and in the database we have 22 and 1, and then join another organization ID 12. We join that as well, and now I have two entries in organization user table with ID 22. And now on the top, let's build a logic that if I have a few organizations, then it will give me a choice. So we open app blade, and at the top we do this: if auth user organizations count is more than 1, then we show another menu item. First, let's test it if it works at all. Okay, we have a test, but if it's more than 2, it should be probably hidden. Yep, so that works well. And let's copy and paste that drop down. The same drop down from here, it will be just reused for organizations. So paste, item drop down, and in here we will show session organization name with default value empty. And then for each of auth user organizations as organization, we will add a link to choose that organization. For now we don't have that session, and let's create the organization route. For now it will be empty. Route get organization / organization ID, same controller, organization with name, organization. So we have empty, but now we have two organizations. So let's make it actually work to pick the organization and save that into a session. So let's take care of that route organization, which is join controller organization. So join controller, we'll have public function organization, and all we need to do is to assign that to a session. And if we open Laravel documentation, this is how you get the session value, and this is how you put something into session. So we use this one, session organization ID equals organization ID, and also let's save organization name, organization name, and that organization will be the same as this one. And finally, as a result, we will need to redirect somewhere, so let's just return back. It's the same as redirect back, it's just shorter form. And let's test it out. We click. Okay, wrong method, join controller organization, refresh, and we are redirected back with the name already set. And if we change that to here, we have Nina Robinson. So now we've put into session the actual organization, active organization by that user. And there are two things left to do in this lesson. So first, we need to change current organization ID. So wherever in whole project we have auth user organization ID, now it should mean the actual chosen organization if there are many. And if there is only one, it should be assigned automatically, or if there is no organization, it should be null. So let's create another attribute in user's model. So let's open user model, and we will do public function get organization ID attribute. So we won't need to change anything in the code. Whenever it's now organization underscore ID, it will be set by this function instead, and then we will remove that database column. So the logic is this: if we have something in the session already, so if session organization ID exists, then we return it. We don't need to do anything else then. Return. Then we query if there is organization. And if there are multiple organizations, we just choose the first one. So this organizations first. And if we have organization, then we return its ID. But before that, we set into the session. So we copy here from here to the actual model. We set organization ID, organization name, and we return that ID. And if we don't have any organizations, then we return null. That's it. And now see what is happening. Let's refresh the page. No error. If I am on Nina Robinson's team and I go to articles, I see 3 articles. Now I switch to Jason Lim and I see no articles, because there are no articles with team ID 1, with organization ID 1. Let's join some other team where we have articles. So user ID 3, right? Let's join organization ID 3. Yes, join. Now I have 3 teams, and if I choose that Redemius and go to articles, I see the article by team ID 3. And if I choose Nina Robinson, I see the article by that team. Finally, we can probably safely remove that field, organization ID. And with that, another thing I want to show you is remove organization ID from users table. And probably in real life project, you should have a migration of data from organization ID to that pivot table. But to save you time, I won't do that in this case because our data is still in testing mode. But be careful with removing any fields without passing the data where it should belong. But for now, to remove that, we need to drop the column. Drop column organization ID. But before that, since it's foreign key, we need to drop the foreign key first. So drop foreign. And there is a trick here. As I said, you should know foreign key name in theory. But if you do array, then you can pass array of fields. So you don't need to pass FK organization something something. And let's migrate that. Successful. And let's refresh and see if nothing is broken. Let's log out. Let's register as a new user. Click around. Seems that nothing is broken. I can still invite someone. And let's register, final test, let's register for the organization. Form filler, register, no error. And I still see the articles. So that's it. So now we handled multiple organizations for every user. And in the next lesson, we will go even deeper and handle multiple roles in different organizations. So for example, in one organization, I'm a publisher. In another organization, I'm a simple user.